The Value of Time, a story of Jake's lesson. In the bustling city of Riverdale, a young man named Jake lived with little regard for time. Jake was bright, ambitious, and had a dream to build his own business. But he had one flaw: he never valued time. He believed he had all the time in the world and would often delay important tasks, thinking he could handle them later. From high school, where he barely met deadlines, to his job at a local tech firm where he constantly delayed projects, Jake never seemed to understand the significance of time. His friends and family often warned him about his habit of procrastination, but Jake would laugh it off, saying, "I work best under pressure." Jake's best friend, Sarah, was the complete opposite. She believed in being organized, managing her time wisely, and always completing her tasks ahead of deadlines. She often told Jake, "Time is the one thing you can't get back. Once it's gone forever." But Jake never took her words seriously. One afternoon, Sarah invited Jake for coffee, and during their conversation, she asked, "How's your business idea coming along? I remember you talking about it last year, but I haven't seen you work on it much." Jake shrugged, sipping his coffee leisurely. I've got time. I'm just waiting for the right moment. I'm still doing some research. I'll start once I've figured everything out." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Jake, you've been saying that for a year. You've had plenty of time to start. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you'll be waiting forever." Jake laughed. "Relax, Sarah. I know what I'm doing. When the time's right, I'll make it happen." Weeks turned into months, and Jake's business idea remained just that, an idea. His job at the tech firm continued to demand more of his time, but instead of focusing on his work, Jake often spent hours scrolling through social media, playing video games, or hanging out with friends. The tasks he promised to complete would pile up, and he would rush to finish them at the last minute, often delivering subpar results. One day, his boss, Mr. Williams, called Jake into his office. "Jake," he said, "I've noticed you've been missing deadlines and not putting in your best effort. You're a talented worker, but if you keep this up, it's going to affect your future here. Time is valuable in business, and we need people who can manage it well." Jake nodded, feeling a pang of guilt, but still didn't change his ways. He believed he had plenty of time to improve and that things would eventually fall into place. A year later, Jake still hadn't started his business. Worse, he had been passed over for a promotion at work, a promotion that had gone to a coworker who always delivered projects on time. Jake was disappointed but convinced himself that things would eventually work out. One evening, after a particularly frustrating day, Jake sat down and thought about his life. His friends were progressing in their careers, some had started families, and Sarah had just launched a successful online business. Meanwhile, he felt like he was stuck in the same place, with nothing to show for his dreams and ambitions. It was then that he realized something crucial: time wasn't waiting for him. The next day, as Jake walked through the park, deep in thought, he saw an old man sitting on a bench, feeding the birds. The man seemed peaceful, watching the world go by with a gentle smile. Jake, feeling the weight of his realization, sat down next to him. "Excuse me, sir," Jake began hesitantly. "Can I ask you something?" The old man looked at him kindly. "Of course, young man. What's on your mind?" Jake sighed. "How do you deal with time slipping away? I've wasted so much time, and now I'm starting to regret it. It feels like no matter how hard I try, I can't make up for the time I've lost." The old man smiled thoughtfully and looked at the sky. "Time, my boy, is like the river that flows through this city. You can't stop it, and you can't make it go faster. All you can do is decide how you're going to use the time you have. But here's the secret: it's never too late to start respecting time." Jake listened intently as the old man continued. "You see, I used to be like you. I always thought I had time, so I delayed things that were important. I missed out on opportunities because I was always waiting for the right moment. But I learned, often the hard way, that the right moment is the one you make happen. Time is a gift, and every moment is an opportunity. Once you realize that, you'll never waste it again." The old man's words hit Jake deeply. He realized that all those moments he had wasted waiting for the perfect time were moments he could never get back. But he also realized that, as the old man said, it wasn't too late to change. Jake thanked the man and hurried home with a new sense of determination. He sat down at his desk, opened his laptop, and began working on his business idea. For the first time in months, he felt focused and energized. He didn't stop until he had mapped out the first steps of his plan. Over the next few weeks, Jake became a new person. He set small, achievable goals each day, and stuck to them. He stopped procrastinating and learned to manage his time effectively. Every morning, he reminded himself of the old man's words: "Time is a gift." As Jake worked on his business, he began to see progress. His product idea, which had once been a vague concept, was now a concrete plan. He connected with potential partners, did market research, and even created a website. And with each passing day, he felt the satisfaction of making the most of his time. 6 months later, Jake's business officially launched. It wasn't easy, but his hard work and respect for time paid off. The business started small, but it grew steadily, and soon he was making a name for himself in the industry. More importantly, Jake had learned the invaluable lesson of valuing time. One day, as he walked through the same park where he had met the old man, he saw him sitting on the bench again. Jake approached him with a smile. "Sir," Jake said, "I wanted to thank you. Your advice changed my life. I stopped wasting time and finally started my business. It's growing now, and I couldn't be happier." The old man smiled warmly. "I'm glad to hear that, young man. Remember, time is always moving forward. The best thing we can do is move forward with it." Jake nodded, feeling a sense of peace. He had learned that while time waits for no one, it offers endless opportunities to those who respect it. From that day on, Jake lived his life with a new perspective, always mindful of the value of time and how it shaped his future. And so, with each passing moment, Jake no longer waited for the perfect time, he created it.